What's up, friends, family? We are here talking to brokers, team leaders, real estate moguls, people who've been successful in real estate because we want to grow and get better at what we do. And the best way to do that is to talk to people that are successful. So we're here with Matt Hartman, broker and owner of RE/MAX Cornerstone, who has 3 offices in Orange County. They opened up in 2014. Matt, prior to owning RE/MAX Cornerstone, was a successful realtor early in his career. He went on to build and invest in tech companies and in the education technology space before deciding to come back and settle down with his family and open up RE/MAX Cornerstone. He built the business around high growth tech strategies and to see how he can support the modern agent landscape into achieving the same type of success he has enjoyed. Without further ado, we have Matt Hartman with RE/MAX Cornerstone. So Matt, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, Collin, absolutely. And thank you for providing this opportunity to get my voice out there. So
absolutely. Matt, so you told us a little bit about how you got into real estate or how you became a broker and owner.
Right.
Can you give us some more information about your past, about what led you into the real estate industry in the beginning, and
Sure.
what was the enticement, and then how you kind of transgress into owning a real estate firm?
Sure. So I first got into real estate because I had a friend whose dad was a real estate agent, and I told my friend that I was in a position, I was out of college, and I said I really would like to make some money, like some real money, and I didn't want to, yeah. And so he said, hey, my dad's done really well for himself, and I think you have the personality for it. And he just basically that was my introduction to real estate. A friend saying my dad's good, why don't you try it? So I went down and got the classes, and I went to a local brokerage, and they gave me like practice tests and said, get your license. And I remember the guy said to me, well, I don't see any visible tattoos, so you're to do well in this business. And I thought, hey, that's the only requirement. And now that's not even a requirement because a lot of great agents have very visible tattoos now too. So, but anyway, the point is that's kind of how I started. And then I was fortunate enough to have some pretty good mentorship to help me build a kind of more systemized business after about a year in the business. I'm learning a lot of mistakes the hard way. I still did okay, but I was able to put in some systems that really created a way that I could have more control in my day-to-day operations and the people I worked with. And from there, I just took off, and I was able to do a lot of deals, have one assistant, and travel and just really live a good lifestyle doing real estate. And so I really loved it. It was the best time of my life as far as just making a lot of money, just a lot of opportunity and a lot of growth, personal growth and that sort of thing.
So that was the key to your real estate start, was putting systems into play early on to make your life more manageable and more efficient?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about the systems thing is, in real estate right now, everybody's talking about systems. And so everybody will tell you, I got a system for you. But there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. It's not easy to put systems into place. There's a lot of discipline in what to say no to, and not chasing every potential deal, because like being disciplined in how you approach. And a lot of agents don't make that distinction between sort of get rich quick easy system type selling things versus actually the hard work of putting systems into place. And
got it.
So anyway, but yeah, that was what I figured out quickly. And that parlayed into my tech career, because even though my parents had a technology background, they were programmers, database people from the early days of computing. So I had that in my DNA and my where I grew up around. But I met a teacher through selling him a house that had a great idea for a technology company for schools. And he was impressed because he was an analytical guy, he's a science teacher, and he was impressed how I ran my real estate business relative to other realtors he'd met through buying other houses before. Mm-hmm. And so he just started picking my brain about how to help him, grow his business. And in the process of that dialogue, I ended up just buying the company from him, and then taking it myself to scale across the country. So, yeah.
And what type of tech company was that? What did the tech company do?
It was a school-to-home communication. So similar, like when you were in school, when you get calls home to say you weren't in class, or not you, Collin, you were always in class, right? But other kids, right? Yes. So, but yeah. but it was one of those systems that we focus on multilingual teacher-to-parent communication. So
Okay.
we communicated languages, 26 languages, automatic translation, that sort of thing to parents.
Got it.
So yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, that's boring, you know. But yeah, but that was the tech stuff I did, and it was great. And then I started investing in other educational technology companies after that. After I sold that company, and I started doing that. And but I really just always loved real estate, so I just always gravitated back toward wanting to do something in real estate. So that's kind of where it got me back here.
And then you've taken those systems that you learned in the tech company and then applied them to RE/MAX Cornerstone, I'm assuming, right?
Well, yeah, I think what gives me a good kind of handle on things is that I know what technology is and what it isn't, and what it does and what it doesn't do for a person, right? So,
Okay.
you know, business rules always prevail. So the rules you set in your business, you know, when do I do this? You know, when do I not do this? You know, those rules are what's more important than anything in any business. The tech just supports or enables you to do those things better. But I think that people think there's some sort of technology, like we saw this with the drip system, right? Like, you know, email drip systems for lead follow-up. That technology is out there. It's been out there for a long time, but it's only as good as the rules you set up with it and knowing the psychology.
Right, knowing how to use it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that the main thing is you have to have that really down before the tech is really going to help your business that much. You know, I always joke it's like golfing or playing guitar. You know, the golf clubs matter, but not at first.
Yeah, you need to know the basics.
Clubs, was that?
You need to know the basics, and
well, yeah, you know, when it's the golf clubs that are keeping your game down, then that's when you get the better golf clubs. But until it's not you anymore, right? It's you know, you can blame the clubs all you want, you can blame the tech, you can blame the guitar, right? But it's you, right? And so I think that's the main thing that I understand being in technology. I know its limits, right? I know where it is, where it starts and begins, you know, and ends. And I think a lot of people think there's something out there, right, that's going to save me. And there's not, right? There's not. And I know that because I've been there.
That's awesome. So we kind of took a look at where you came from and how you got into real estate. Now I kind of want to dive down into your business a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about your model? Tell us about RE/MAX Cornerstone. What is the broker-agent relationship with RE/MAX Cornerstone? And, you know, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing now.
Sure. Yeah. So the way I look at it is the center of our universe is the coaching into systems and skills, right, and strategies that I, you know, try to help the agents with. And then putting in everything around that center of the universe to make sure it supports those things. So anything I say to our agents to do, like, hey, you should try this, it doesn't stop there. If it stops there, then it's no good to them. But all my staff knows how to do those things that I told that agent to do.
Got it.
All of my staff, all of our programs, everything we offer will then pick up where I left off with that advice to make sure they implement that. And so that's kind of the most simple way I could put it, is that most brokerages do one size fits all training, right?
Right.
But then you're on your own. So you end up going to a title rep or a lender to help you out, right? Whereas, you know, the thing is, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the point is that's what you're paying me for as a broker, right? Is to help you implement things. So my thought is I did a different model where I have support staff that's super technically inclined for technology, for understanding how to put business processes into place. And they assist our agents on a one-on-one level to do that in their businesses.
How many people do you have acting on your support staff currently?
Well, we have one staff that's an agent partner that's devoted to about 35 agents each.
Wow.
So it's one person, but again,
you know, how many agents do you have?
We have about 130 agents.
130?
Yeah. So it's right around there, right just below. But so the idea is that they're not an assistant, because one assistant can handle 35 agents, right? But they're there when that agent needs it, like saying, hey, I want to do a Facebook ad. I want to do this. So yeah, let's do that. Let's sit down 30 minutes. We'll do that. So they take agents when agents are ready to implement something, they'll sit down and make sure they get it done. And so, but that's just one aspect, right? The model, I found that you've got two compelling models right now to most realtors, right? And the most compelling are either a discounted model, right?
Mhm.
It's mean like I want to just why I get the relationships. The relationships with me. It doesn't matter who I work for, right? You have
Right.
a discounted model. And then you've got the team model, right? Which is compelling because it's exciting to have a team. You're growing a real business and that sort of thing, right? And so if you look at what the agents really want, right? They don't want to overpay for something they're not getting. And that's why they like the discount model. Why am I paying this brokerage all this money? I'm not getting anything, right? That's what's compelling. So I get that. And then the people that are going to the team, they like the team leader. They can be selective in the people they choose to be on their team, right?
Right.
So they can actually,
They're going to give leads to, so to speak.
it's like a well-run sports organization. We pick the players who fit into our system, and if they don't, they're out, right? And so that's compelling. And those team leaders get 50% splits, like the brokerages of old, right? So those team leaders can provide those individual agents a pretty good amount of resources back because they're giving them 50% of their commissions.
Right.
Problem is nowadays brokerages aren't getting that much money from their agents, right? They're not getting 50%. So how do agents expect them to really actually help them grow, right? Because you're not giving me any money. How can I really support you? So the idea is that I looked at this and I thought, this is madness, right? Like what happened to just an agent who wants to be an agent, have maybe one assistant at the most, and make really good money while having a flexible lifestyle like I had. That's all I had. I had one assistant and I was living the life. And I figured, where's that brokerage for those agents anymore, right? And that's where I figured that's what I wanted to build. I wanted to build a brokerage that empowered an individual agent to make amazing money, to have an amazing life, and to not have to like build and figure everything out for themselves, but that had more than platitudes coming from the brokerage of like just kind of, the real estate industry, everybody looks to everybody else what they're doing. So even new brokerages, they kind of just repeat what the brokerage they worked out before.
Yeah, what's the precedent, essentially?
Right. And I'm very transcendental in my thinking. I came to it from a different perspective from the tech world and said, let's start from scratch here. Let's start in this post-Zillow world now where everything's different, right? And how do we provide value as a brokerage to that agent now? And the problem is nobody's providing the agent the value to that one agent right now. It's either you join a team, you build a team, or you hunker down at some discount place, so at least you're not paying a bunch of money in commissions. But there's not someone who's saying, hey, let's partner together and help you individually grow your business, and I'm going to work with you one-on-one. Our staff's going to support you, and you're going to grow a great business as an individual agent. That's where I don't see other offerings out there right now. But I could be wrong. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there, and I'm not criticizing them all. I'm just saying in my experience,
that's the type of model that you are going for.
That's the problem I was trying to solve for.
That's the problem.
Was that individual agent that wants a great lifestyle, the flexibility and the income, but doesn't want to have to manage a whole team, doesn't want to have to also just like be on their own completely, right?
So Matt, like understanding your model, it's more about empowering the agent, helping the agent grow. Now,
Right.
what type of hurdles have you had to overcome as a broker owner in the last past? I mean, you guys started in 2014. It's been 6 years, and
Right.
you have 130 agents. That's great. That's immaculate growth. I'm assuming there's some hurdles in there that you had to overcome. Do you have any few that you could point out and talk about how you were able to overcome them?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think the hardest thing for brokerages right now in general is profitability, really. There's you're trying to provide a lot of value. People like me also that we feel the obligation to provide a lot of value. We go to sleep at night. How can I provide more value?
That comes in a bunch of different ways.
Right. Yeah. And I think that, a lot of agents, there's a lot of competition for those commission dollars, right? From not only the client not wanting to pay our agents much anymore.
Yeah.
And then also from the agents not wanting to pay the brokerage as much anymore. So our profits are getting squeezed. And so the biggest challenges I have is to say, I'm not going to sacrifice on giving value, but I also don't want to sacrifice on making a profit, right? So the idea is all I do every day is try to find the most scalable ways to meaningfully help agents. Not just the most scalable way to be profitable, but the most scalable way to meaningfully help agents. Because if profit will come if I know I can really scale meaningfully helping people. And that's why rather than having one manager who's sort of a mini celebrity within the place that makes a lot of money and kind of glad hands to do that, I'd rather have staff that actually rolls up their sleeves and works with our agents, right? That's talented and that can help them. I don't have a more flat structure because I don't need to pay a bunch of middle people or people who are like cheerleading types. I mean, cheerleading's great and motivation's great, but it doesn't pay the bills. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I need my agents to sell houses. I don't need to make them come in and feel good once a week, get roughed up, and then not sell houses. You know what I mean? So like you're very tactical. I'm very tactical. I mean, I'm a very like expressive in like, person to person, but I also very analytical, right? So my analytical side of my brain will never let me be full of crap. You know what I mean? So I got to make sure that I'm always trying to give value. So that's really my biggest challenge, is just day-to-day challenges of trying to scale, meaningfully helping agents who I won't be able to charge that much money to because they don't want to pay that much money, right? So I've got to figure out how to do it in a profitable way that makes sense to me, but also that really helps them. So that provides challenges all the time. There's always different challenges. But I'd say the main overarching is that profitability with also being able to provide value. So
got it. So being able to remain profitable while providing, a high amount of value, a good amount of value.
Right.
So you talked a little bit about the way your organization is structured with not having management and having more staff. Now, has that ever been a hurdle by itself, or is that more of an opportunity, or has that ever been a problem not having more management? Because you have, what is it, 3 offices now, 4 offices?
3 offices. Yeah.
So have you ever had trouble with oversight with not having managers?
No, well, don't get me wrong. I do have a manager who does compliance for us and is always available to the agents, and I do as well. So, I mean, I have a co-manager that works with me. So
Gotcha.
with 130 agents and 2 of us, we've got that well covered. But the whole point was that I really want to make sure that we have people that can actually roll up the sleeves and help the agents.
Gotcha. And aren't just going to be figureheads and, just do speeches and then walk away.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to be too cynical about that. I mean, there's some fantastic managers I've worked with and they're great people. I'm saying the model is maybe broken. It's not what agents need anymore.
So, I know you're known for having dynamic meeting structures. Would you care to share anything about that, about how you run meetings or how you format your meetings?
Well, what I like to do is keep my agents informed of if they're having a conversation somewhere with a person that's a little sophisticated about the world and real estate, that they can still look like the expert, right? So I try to keep them informed about everything going on in the industry. So I wouldn't want to be at a party as an agent and someone said, "Oh yeah, have you heard about Open Door, 2 years ago?" And I'd say, "Open Door? No, who are they?" And I just want all credibility from that person as being a potential client of mine, right? So the one thing I like to do is keep our agents really well abreast of what's going on in the industry, and so it's a lot less about like the kind of more rah recognition stuff, but more like, hey, I'm educating you guys so you don't sound uneducated when you're talking to the public, right? So that's one thing, that's one aspect. So I try to make sure that meeting is always meaningful. We do only one meeting a month. That's a sales type meeting. Mm-hmm. And then I always try to really touch on execution more than ideas. So what I mean by that is Steve Jobs sometimes said that, execution is 90%, ideas are only 10%. And that sounds ironic coming from the guy who's like this brilliant, idea man, right? Yeah. But when you look at Steve Jobs, I mean, really, all the ideas he had were derivative of things that already existed in the world. The phone already existed. He didn't invent the phone, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't invent the computing machine. He just executed on what other people were doing. Like the Palm Pilot was out way before the iPhone.
It was.
He just executed better than the Palm Pilot did, right? He saw the opportunity to execute better than and create a better product, but it wasn't the idea, right? So my point is that we try to look at execution. So I try to make sure our agents are always focused on execution, and giving them the tools to execute. So that's kind of what I try to do, is focus on education so they when they talk to people, they look knowledgeable, or they are knowledgeable, and then also making sure that they execute in their businesses. And so that's really it. So implementation, execution is everything to me. Ideas, we all know how to get business in real estate. There's no real new idea out there. There's just tactical distinctions between people that execute and those that don't, And so, yeah.
So speaking about, Open Door and other real estate firms, what is your take on internet companies, Zillow, Redfin, you know, iBuyers. Where do you foresee the real estate industry going, or do you see the industry having an effect as a result of these types of internet players?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, when I look at Zillow, right, because there's been this ongoing fear of Zillow, like they're coming to eat our lunch, or
Yeah.
they're going to, take over the world. And then there's people that are getting rich off of Zillow right now. There's agents as we speak right now that are making tons of money by their partnership with Zillow, right? So you've got all spectrums. But the way I look at it is Zillow needs a profit. They're a publicly traded company that has an obligation to their shareholders to profit.
Mm-hmm.
They have no obligation to wipe out realtors. They have no obligation to take over the world, right? Or try to. They have an obligation to profit. So their decision making is going to be dictated by what's the most profitable, and because they're publicly traded, short-term way to profit. So like when you take a long-term strategy like the iBuying, is what you see what happens. People start getting skeptical. The stock market doesn't like long-term strategies. They want short-term gains. So with Zillow, I would say that they're going to do whatever is most profitable, and it's very easy to look at what's most profitable. Listen to their earnings calls. I listen to the earnings calls of Redfin and Zillow every quarter and every month. Listen to what's going on with them, and it's very easy to know where they're going. They're not hiding anything because they're a public company. I mean, they have some ideas and plans, but it's very obvious to know where they're going, right? So the way I look at Zillow is that the main thing is that the more they can get out of the transaction dollar amount, whichever gives them that, they're going to go after. And I think that they're testing right now two strategies: referral-based business, meaning don't pay us monthly or pay us monthly or give us referral money, right? Like or doubling down on just the agents who actually do get returns on the customer experience, right? Mm-hmm. And giving them all the business. And then the iBuying, they're experimenting to see how that does, right? So they're kind of seeing like, how do we be selective in the agents we work with now rather than just letting anybody work with us? That's what they're experimenting with. And then they're experimenting with the iBuying platform. The only caution I have to agents who are working with Zillow on the first one is that Zillow is going to be complete control of your lead flow. So if they decide to chick up the notch, like, hey, it's going to be this much money now for leads, and hey, it's going to be this much money. At some point, I don't know, you're familiar with Amazon? They have these delivery services that so Amazon found these big logistical companies that deliver all their products, and they piggybacked on those people. And the people that could get the systems done best, they gave them more contracts, to where some people had statewide contracts. Well, guess what? Once those companies became big enough to where Zillow was not Zillow, Amazon was in making money. Amazon cut a lot of those companies out and are now giving it to new people. So the point is, Amazon is completely in control of like those people that are their whole business models are, Amazon dies, they die, right? They're delivering, it's called the last mile delivery. It's the people that bring it from the last distribution center to your door. Those are all third-party companies. And so when Amazon decided these companies are charging us too much, we can get it cheaper elsewhere, they push pressure on them. And when those companies didn't want to do it, they went and just cut them out and went to new people.
Yep. So
the idea is that if you're a Zillow agent right now, make hay while the sun shines, but you better have a backup plan for when they want to start taking 50% of every one of your deals. Or, does it make sense?
Yep.
So, and again, that could be years down the road, or may never be profitable to Zillow, because maybe Zillow figures, no, that's risky, you won't do that. But the way I look at things going is that there's a good chance that you're going to be at the mercy of Zillow the more your business depends on getting leads from them as things grow, as they figure out, which makes sense. I mean, you've seen it in other models. That's what Amazon did to all their distribution.
So, so one more question before I let you go.
Sure.
Well, two more. So, slightly bigger question than really large question. Where do you see the housing market going in the next 12 months? And then, then after that, where do you see the economy heading?
Wow. I don't know if I'm qualified for at least the second one, but no, I mean, nobody knows. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to cop out and say I don't have a crystal ball. I mean, I can only give you my gut, right?
Yeah, give me your gut. That's all I want. I want your gut.
My reptilian brain gut feeling. And I think that's probably I'm thinking the real estate market. I liked what Mike Del Prete said, which is like a checkbox recovery, right? Like it looks like it's a quick down and a slower back up, but we're still going to get back up. So rather than a U where we stay down, and rather than a V where it's a quick rebound just as fast as we went down, I think it's going to be that checkbox. That's a very safe thing to say, right? But I think it's probably the most realistic. I think that we'll see momentum starting up in July in a big way. I think that we'll start seeing, acceptable levels of deals in June, but I think that hopefully we'll be humming by July. I mean, that's my guess on closings. I hope that June openings are good. I don't see a lot of May openings. I think April's going to be a lot. Maybe it's going to be a lot like April. But I hope. I mean, but gosh, we're all in the mercy of whatever the decision makers, whatever they say, and if it's the right decision. Because the worst thing you can happen is a false start. We go back, and then all of a sudden we have to shut down for even longer because we came back too soon, right? And whether you believe that, who knows what to believe, what everything, but that's a potential if there really is that big of a contagion health risk issue. So I'm hoping the testing, will tell us more stories about what's happening in California in the coming, weeks. So we know like where we've been to know where we're going. Cause I think we don't know how many cases we've really had, but anyway, that's all other stuff. But let me just say this, as far as the housing market, I think we're going to do fine. And I think that the government's going to probably do their best to keep us at a steady pace. I think that the interest rates are going to stay relatively low. And I think that hopefully jobs come back in enough numbers to where at least we still have a pretty strong seller's market too. I mean, it doesn't matter if we have a seller's market or not, but what we don't want to see is a strong buyer's market. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's any possibility of that happening. So, and my numbers internally look like we're already on the rebound.
Awesome.
We're going back up. So
I love to hear that.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's some openings. Yeah. No, our pendings are going up in the last few days.
Perfect.
Last week, so
let's keep it there.
Sorry, you said you had 2 questions. Did you not?
Those are 2.
Those are 2. The economy. Yeah. So, yeah. Cool.
You answered in like opposite order, but it's it's okay. It's all good. Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Really means a lot. You took your time out of your day to do this with me. Friends, family, if you're watching this, please remember to subscribe. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks, Collin.